Today we will look at the next section of our diploma in hotel management, and it's an important section, and it is food and beverage operations. So today we will look at chapter 1 of food and beverage operations, and that is introduction to food and beverage. The outcomes for this unit are to present the key characteristics, objectives and challenges of the sector, to detail the diverse structure and scope of the sector, to explain the complexity of classifying within the sector, to describe and evaluate the characteristics and aims of a range of different types of food and beverage operations. So, introduction to the food and beverage sector. The food and beverage cycle is the template that most food and beverage businesses operate within. The different stages of the cycle present both challenges and opportunities for operators. The following is a typical cycle of food and beverage. In our diagram, we can see the food and beverage cycle. So looking at number 1, purchasing, to receiving, to storing, to issuing, preparing, cooking, serving, and finally consuming. So we have 8 stages within the cycle. So within any food and beverage operation, we have the main objectives and also expectations of that operation. Let's look at the aims, which are central to most food and beverage operations. So the aims are to provide quality food and beverages, a clean, hygienic and safe environment, comfortable and well-designed facilities, professional, attentive and friendly service, and also value for money. What would be some challenges of the hospitality industry? So we have intangibility. So a large part of the food and beverage produce is made up of intangible elements such as service and ambience. We have simultaneous production and consumption. So this unique nature of the hospitality product is that in most cases the product is produced and consumed simultaneously, whereas for most manufactured goods they are produced in one place, then transported and consumed in another. In some situations, such as outside catering, the product is consumed in another location. In most hospitality situations, customers must come to the place where it is produced in order to consume it. This inseparability makes mass production difficult, as it would require large amounts of customers and producers in one place, which would cause environmental, social, cultural and economic problems. Heterogeneity. Each service experience is different. Service delivery can vary in the same organisation due to different producers and different consumers with varying needs and requirements. Manufacturing goods seldom change with producers and consumers. Consistency. Most manufactured products are generally relatively consistent. However, due to the intangible element of the food and beverage product, it is difficult to achieve consistency, which is what most consumers demand. As an example, as humans, our personal moods can change easily due to a combination of factors such as illness, bad news, and discerning customers. This can, in some cases, impact on the consistency of service delivery. Perishability. The food and beverage product, as with most service industries, is highly perishable. This means that certain products such as restaurant seats and hotel rooms cannot be stored. If we do not sell a restaurant table tonight, we lose the revenue. Whereas if a television is not sold today, It can be stored and sold at another time. Unused hospitality services cannot be returned, claimed, or resold. Ownership. When purchasing a hospitality product, the consumer only owns that product for the period of time. No guarantees. In most cases, there is little aftercare or service. Imitation is easy. Service process is easily observed by competitors and so leads to copying. There are no patents. Seasonality. Many restaurants operate in different seasons, and so this creates many challenges for operators in relation to staffing and expenses. External variables. The industry is faced with many external variables that can impact the running of the business. Examples include changes in political, economic, and social technology, legal and environmental externalities. Let's look at some characteristics of the food and beverage sector. I think it is fair to say that the food and beverage sector is a vital part of everyday life. It's a major contributor to the national economy. It's highly fragmented and complex. It creates employment, encourages entrepreneurship, promotes diversity through many different food concepts and cuisines. It fuels innovation. It is a local multiplier, utilizing many other peripheral services. It's consumer-led. It's competitive. It's an opportunity to enjoy the company of friends, family, colleagues and associates, and it fulfills our basic needs. So what are the major trends in the food and beverage sector? Well, guests are becoming more sophisticated. There is more emphasis on food safety and sanitation. More casual and theme restaurants, which are less formal. There's an increase in ethnic restaurants and ethnic food. There is a growth in chains of all cuisines. There's an increase in convenience food, an increase in coffee chains, which is leading to a coffee culture, an increase in takeout meals and home meal replacement, outsourcing outlets in hotel, which is leading to co-branding, more focus on healthier eating, and an increase in organic food consumption, food sustainability and provenance. So, taking into account the classification and organisation of the sector, what are the challenges? It's commercial and non-commercial, size, ownership, star rating or quality, service method, food or beverage, concept or theme, revenue or turnover, location, mealtime or meal period, customer type, cuisine, awards or schemes. So classification, approaches and options. We have commercial and non-commercial, size, ownership, star rating or quality, service method, concept or theme, revenue or turnover, location, meal time or meal period, customer type, cuisine, awards or schemes. So by looking at our graph under classification of food and beverage, we can see the different aspects of the food and beverage operation depending on whether it is commercial or non-commercial. So by looking at our graph, we can see the different classifications of the food and beverage outlets. They're split into commercial and non-commercial. So some commercial examples would be a general market, hotels, restaurants and snack bars, fast food and takeaway, restricted market, travel catering, clubs, contract caterers, function and event catering. And then we have non-commercial food and beverage outlets, so institutional catering, schools, university catering, military services, prisons. Then we have employee catering within an organisation, in-house catering, and contract caterer. So we can see a variety of food and beverage operations. These would include shopping malls, ethnic restaurants and ethnic chains, educational areas, transport, welfare catering, restaurants, supermarkets, employee dining, outside catering, private clubs, street vendors, fine dining, themed restaurants such as the Hard Rock Cafe, for example, cafes and sandwich bars, fast food chains, which are very common, accommodation, leisure, conference centres and takeaway. So there are different management options in food and beverage. Here we're going to explore some of the main approaches. So a self-operated outlet. In this situation, the owner or organisation manages the operation themselves. This could be either a small, large or franchised situation. In a franchise agreement, with a franchise, the franchisee, the owner of the facility, pays fees to the franchisor or franchise company in exchange for the right to use the name, building design and business methods of the franchisor. Furthermore, the franchisee must agree to maintain the franchisor's business and quality standards. A management contract. This is when an owner or operator of an establishment employs or contracts a specialised hospitality or food and beverage service company to manage the whole or part of the operation. This could be done either in a hotel or in a non-commercial institution, for example at a university. We also have outsourcing. This is a relatively new trend in food and beverage. Increasingly, hotels are realising that hotel-run restaurants are in some cases unprofitable. The reason for this is that many residents prefer to dine in food and beverage branded outlets that are known to them. In response to this, a new and emerging trend with some hotels is to form a partnership with a restaurant brand that would operate from a designated area within the hotel. This trend is also being seen with bar and coffee chains operating within hotels. So, some examples of outsourcing in food and beverage. Opportunities for the hotel. Starbucks can provide technical specialization in coffee service. There is less risk of complaints due to standardized product and quality branded product. Knowledge of sharing between partners. Guaranteed monthly rental income from hotel space. Percentage of revenues depending on the agreement. Attract rival Starbucks customers to the hotel, which means new income streams. The hotel can focus on core competencies. There is less capital investment in design, equipment and facilities, in staffing, training, marketing, advertising and management, and there are limited costs as these are passed on to the operator. There are opportunities for cross-marketing. What are the challenges for the hotel? Well, there will be a change with the arrival of a new partner. There is increased risk due to loss of control. It could potentially lose loyal existing customers, and negative public relations could affect the hotel. Opportunities for the partner, so for example Starbucks. They have an association with an established brand, so we have brand partnering. They have new customers, a good location and cross-marketing. So what are the challenges for a partner such as Starbucks? They still have costs, they still have monthly rental, There will be a period of acceptance by the hotel. A negative hotel PR can affect the partner. So commercial and non-commercial food and beverage operations. Some examples of commercial operations: food and beverage accommodation, independence operation, ethnic restaurants, themed restaurants, public houses, fast food chains, and transport services. Then we have non-commercial, so military, schools, universities, hospitals, and employee catering. So let's take a more detailed look at commercial food and beverage operations. So food and beverage in accommodation. The provision of food and beverage facilities in accommodation can vary depending on size, ownership, location, goals, customer, and quality. Accommodations located in specific areas, such as resorts and city centre properties, also have different food and beverage outlets. For example, a resort would be likely to feature a pool bar and beachside restaurant. So the following diagram shows the main organisational structure of the food and beverage department within a large hotel. What are the types of food and beverage services in hotels? We can see a coffee shop, restaurant, fine dining, bar, lounge, executive lounge, conference and banqueting, outside catering, room service, minibar, guest amenities, and employee dining. The diagram below shows food and beverage relationship with main hotel departments. So the food and beverage department will feed into the other main departments, including maintenance, human resources, security, accounts, concierge, reception, sales and marketing, and housekeeping. Independent restaurants, so small to medium enterprises. Independent restaurants make up a huge part of the food and beverage industry, almost 70%, and are often dynamic and varied. An independent restaurant is an individual trading entity, and in most cases the unit is managed by the owner. This following chart outlines the basic structure of an independent restaurant. These restaurants could be themed, ethnic, have a variety of service methods such as self-service, cafeteria, takeaway, sit-down or drive-through. They rely heavily on passing trade and word-of-mouth advertising. Here you can see a typical organisational chart of a small independent food and beverage organisation. So what are the main opportunities for independent restaurants? It gives the owner the opportunity to be their own boss. The owner can choose the location, menu, and suppliers. They have pride of ownership. Decisions can be made immediately. The owner finds its own targeted customers, retains profit, and money is recirculated into the local community. So what are the challenges for independent restaurants? There is a difficulty in finding a source of investment capital because of having no established reputation. There is a limited budget for advertising and public relations. Credibility and trust must be established by the owner. And there is limited opportunity for growth. Let's take a look at ethnic restaurants. Ethnic restaurants can be part of a chain but also independent in nature. They are normally managed by the owner and operated around a central theme such as Chinese, Japanese, and Middle Eastern. Themed restaurants are organisations that have a central theme throughout, such as music, entertainment, or sport, for example. The Hard Rock Cafe pioneered the Hollywood theme restaurant, that trendy mix of casual dining, glitzy entertainment, star memorabilia and merchandising, which has subsequently been successfully copied by many others. Public houses or licensed premises. Public houses primarily offer a comfortable, relaxed environment where individuals or groups can get together to enjoy a selection of beverages. In most cases, beverages still remain the main product. However, more and more pubs are offering a greater variety of food in an attempt to remain competitive. Chain restaurants and bars. So several units operating in different locations. They can be national, regional or global. Operations are normally duplicated and feature the same design, menus and operations in each unit. There is a good infrastructure and support networks, training and purchasing for example. They provide consistency and standardization to customers. There's centralized purchasing and distribution networks. Operations are normally themed around a central concept. Service systems can vary from takeaway, drive-through, dine-in, casual or fine dining. And the operations can be owned by a parent company, a franchise or private owners. The following are examples of chain restaurants and brands. So what are some of the characteristics of non-commercial operations? Non-commercial institutions hire commercial food service management or contract companies from outside to manage food service in their institutions. Commercial food service management companies exist to make a profit. They carry out fully the food and service responsibilities for the institutions under contract. The institution or workplace can free itself from the day-to-day concern of managing food service operations. They are professional food service companies. These operations are planned to keep expenses and costs low. They are budget orientated. They are part of properties that exist for reasons other than the service of food and beverage, which is only supportive. Competition is limited as the service is provided in a private, closed environment. They are normally large scale, delivered at particular times of the day. Business levels are quite predictable, making it easier for production and planning, and the emphasis is not placed on nutrition.